On this episode, we're taking you inside our full day previewing Epic Universe to discuss whether this brand new park lives up to the massive hype. Today's May 13th, 2025, and this is episode 771 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys!
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, get the latest theme park news, as well as live streams from the parks and resorts, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Are you ready for your bucket list trip? Our trusted partner, MEI Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. Are you planning a Disney or Universal vacation? Make it seamless with Vacation Grocery Delivery. They deliver fresh groceries right to your resort so you can skip the store and start your vacation as soon as possible. We absolutely love using their service. There's no price markups on items, and they've never canceled an order like some of those other services. Plus, their team is comprised of former Disney cast members who ensure top-notch service. And we want to give a big thank you to Vacation Grocery Delivery for being the sponsor of this year's Main Street 16 Challenge Weekend. Visit vacationgrocerydeliveryfl.com to place your order and tell them Main Street Magic sent you.
Well, I hope all the moms out there had a wonderful Mother's Day on Sunday. Hope you were treated right. I know I was. It was great.
We'll see. We'll see if you are.
Always
Still
am.
mourning, right?
Always am.
Yeah, I'm excited for today to talk about Epic Universe.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are excited to hear us talk about Epic Universe. So we hadn't planned to go during the preview period simply because we weren't going to have time. Really. Right. Once they opened up previews to basically everyone, like we were looking when they opened up to hotel guests, and we were talking with our friend Tina, who's a pass holder and was able to get AP, previews at that time. And we were looking, we're like, could we do it? And we just didn't think we could. And then our good friend Rachel was going last Friday, the Friday before we went. And I was like, you know what? We got to make it out there. Because we weren't planning on going until December, right? Yeah. With our family, Rob, Tina, their whole family. So we went ahead, we looked up, we went on May 8th, Thursday, May 8th is when we went, got the preview tickets. And I'll just preface this episode by saying this. We are going to talk about our experience on May 8th during the Epic Universe preview.
Yes.
That's what we're going to discuss.
Yes.
We're going to do our best to talk about the things that we did. Again, we don't like to talk about things that we didn't do.
Correct.
There were some things closed, just, plenty of stuff we didn't make it to. So again, as you listen to this episode, this is our opinion on what we experienced that day. And we'll talk more about, when we plan to go back and all. But then when we go back, then we will do full episodes on our experience on that day.
Yes, that'll be good.
All right, so all that being said, let's get into it. And if you want, we can just start from the morning drive down. So Epic was slated to open this preview day was 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we were driving down that morning, right?
Yes, which I was kind of glad that it wasn't until 11.
I was
because honestly, I didn't have to get up at like 6 a.m. or even earlier.
Yeah.
Because we were going to drive down. Jeremy did find Dockside Inn was only $97. Yeah. Which was really good. And because of that, I knew I'd fall asleep on the way home. And then he doesn't like to drive too much at dark. So I was like, the $97. We're
let's
just
do
gonna
it.
stay.
Yeah.
So we drove straight there. We actually checked in, and we were actually our room was ready and everything, but we left our stuff because Tina met us there, and then she drove us to Epic.
Yeah, so what was really nice is that, pass holders, which Tina is still a Universal pass holder, got free parking there. And she actually could have even used her valet parking that she gets as a premier pass holder. We just decided not to, and where the premium preferred parking was that they put the premier pass holders in, we were pretty much close to the front anyway.
Yeah.
But early entry was going to be 10 a.m. if you're a hotel guest. And what they've been doing for the previews is opening up Super Nintendo World at that time. So you would get early entry. We were basically walking up right at 11 when it was going to open because we were going to try for the first Battle for the Ministry virtual queue. But, of course, you got to be inside the park to get it. So we went in at 11. We were just outside the gate. They were like, nope, you got to be inside the park. So they do those again at 3 and 6, and we'll talk about that, I guess, when we get over to that time in the day. But went ahead and scanned in. The facial recognition they're using here as well. It is weird to not be in a parking garage.
Yeah, it was.
Right? Like you normally are over at City Walk and Islands and Studio Side. So walking in originally, coming straight into Celestial Park, like what were your first impressions? We just did all these Disneyland episodes. What it's like our first time walking into those parks, which are new to us, but are obviously very familiar and have been around for a long time. This is brand new. I mean, it's not even had a grand opening. How did you feel first walking up? And then under the Kronos, and
it was really
Epic
cool.
Universe.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was gorgeous.
It really is.
I'd like to say they nailed it.
Yeah.
Like walking up, like it was pretty. You walk through these giant gates that are pulled back.
Yeah.
The landscaping was beautiful. Yeah, and it's so grand. Walking up, and I thought it was really cool. And then walking past the gate where you look up and see everything, and then you look out and see the water, and I just was like, wow.
It's so open. So this area feels so much bigger than I thought it would. Just from looking at some of their preview fly-throughs, the overhead maps, photos, things like that. It's so much more spread out. And it's interesting because there isn't, what I would consider that there's not a land, like Universal doesn't do landmarks when you walk in. They're outside. You have the big Universal Globe outside of Studios.
Yeah.
You have the tower outside of Islands. This has the Kronos as you enter in.
Yeah.
So, of course, you don't get these grand reveals like you do in a Disney park. But you do because it opens up to, these beautiful water and landscaping. The Atlantic restaurant, which is right there on the left, and the big glass windows.
And
you just look straight ahead and see Helios, right? Just overlooking this entire park.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. It's open. It's, to me, this part almost, it feels like an area. I feel like it feels like an area in a city that was opened up to be like a common park area type thing. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like almost like a Central Park in a sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think
it has that feel. And I mean, Celestial Park. So
I'll agree with that.
It's really cool. And it's amazing around all these fountains in these waterways, especially as you get to the back towards Helios. And right now they're not doing fireworks shows and they're not doing these fountain shows. And there's still a lot of things, obviously, that aren't happening as they're in previews and technical rehearsals. But there's so many areas to just sit and relax and kind of enjoy. We didn't do a lot of relaxing this day, but we did do some that, of course, we'll talk about. But from here, our thought was, let's go over. We knew it was going to rain at some point, right? Based on the forecast.
Yes.
And the time of year.
Yes.
It's probably going to rain.
Right.
So our thought was kind of, well, do we need to look at doing some outdoor stuff first?
Well, Tina wanted to go to Super Nintendo World, and that was also the one that was, quote unquote, early entry.
Right.
But we were right on time. So I'm really happy that we went over there.
Yes, I am too.
So we went straight to Super Nintendo World and then walked through that
Yeah, let's talk as we get to each land. Talk about the portal,
Okay.
and then the initial reaction to that land.
So let me say it like this. I don't think I realized that the commercials on TV are portals.
Yeah.
And you step through them and you enter this land. I mean, except for the like, pretty much like, what do you call it? Like the commercial where it makes you step through like a weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're going through a warp of some sort.
Right. Besides that, I mean, this is for real.
I know.
Like, I was like, wait, what? And the coolest part about Nintendo World is you step through this portal and you go up these escalators that literally is like you're going through a tube.
Yeah, through the warp tunnels.
Yeah. And you hear the sound. It's green. Oh my God. It's amazing.
The lights, like you're warping through the tunnel.
It is so cool.
And we'll talk about each portal as we get to the land. Yeah, they come off so much better than I thought maybe they would.
100%.
Like they really are portals into another world.
I agree.
And what I think is so amazing that they did with this land, you know, and Universal's known for having to be plopped right in the middle of other things. The same way Disneyland is, right?
Right.
You can be in Disneyland and you can see the outside world. You can be in Universal Parks and you can see the outside world. And yeah, you can be on Incredible Hulk and look down at points and see, you know, dumpsters and backstage areas and parking and all. And here, as you're walking up from the parking lot, you look around and you're in the middle of Orlando, really. You know, there's apartment buildings, there's other stuff around. There are Terra Luna and Stella Nova there and all. But as soon as you step through that Kronos, I was just very surprised at how shut off you are from everything else. Other than not only being an epic universe, but then those individual worlds.
Yeah.
You know, now from Celestial Park, you can see, you know, over top of the portals, you can see parts of lands, obviously. Because they each tower pretty tall and all that. But once you're in that land, I was just so surprised at how contained you really are.
Yeah.
I thought you would be able to be in this park, be in some of the lands, and see other things. You really don't.
Yeah. Especially Super Nintendo World.
Yeah, especially. So first impressions, walking, you come up the escalator and you walk out of the portal.
I mean, it's jaw dropping.
It is.
Like literally, like it. I mean, talk about feeling like you're in Super Nintendo World, that you've literally just been portaled into it.
Yeah,
You-
right into a
you
Super Mario
really
Brothers game.
Are like it, the detail, how big it is, how like all the above. Like, oh my God, it's in freaking incredible.
Yeah.
Like I was blown away.
Well, first of all, this land is 3 levels, at least, right?
I think so.
Because you came in on like a mid-level where we are. You can go up a level and there's Peach's Castle and all. You can go down a level, which takes you over into Donkey Kong Land. And then there's some stuff down there.
Yeah.
And it's walking into a Super Mario Brothers game.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
It's all Yoshi. Oh my God, it's so cool.
And first of all, I will say this as a warning. If you or somebody in your family has sensory overload or sensory issues, be very careful with this land.
Yes.
There is so much going on.
So much.
Colors, movement, sound, people, just
So loud.
There's no way to even explain the land. It is so much that you just can't even believe that you're standing in this world.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, this would have been, I can't remember if this was elementary school or middle school for me.
A story.
It is a story. I had a good friend, Matt Riley. He was really good at art. And we would go over to his house like every day after school. His parents had a little money. So he had a nice big house and all, right? So we would go there every day after school. And we were obsessed with Super Mario Brothers. We loved playing Super Mario Brothers. So because he was a good artist, I liked art. I was trying to get into it. We had notebooks that we would design Super Mario worlds. So we would hand draw Super Mario Worlds page by page, the way that you would look at it as you're playing the game. And we would do this for hours every day after school for like a year. And so being able to actually step in a world was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, because again, we used to draw them and we used to think like, oh, one day we'll be cool big video game creators and people will be playing these worlds, not knowing the generations of gaming that would come.
Right.
And so, yeah, to actually be in there, like to look at Bowser's castle and Peach's castle, it just blew my mind. Mm-hmm. And then you can get the power bands.
Those are cool. Those are $50.
Yeah, $50. You can interact. You can go and you can hit the coins and collect coins.
So cool.
You can like interact and play games.
Mm-hmm.
I just thinking of it.
Through the queue as well.
Oh yeah, through queues, everything. And then even because we went back in later, like even the second time, then you walk in, you're still like, oh, like you hear that kind of when you walk in, you almost hear that like, oh, like just it's incredible. I thought it was unbelievable. So we're like, all right, we didn't really have a plan for the day.
No, we did not, but I think it worked out very well.
It did.
How it happened.
It did.
And I would suggest this for other people, maybe.
Yeah, because we kind of cut across a little bit as you go through our work.
But I would suggest how we started with Super Nintendo.
100%, I would too. Curse of the Werewolf was going to be down all day. We knew that ahead of time.
Yes.
We saw delayed for Stardust Racers. Spoiler alert, it never came up.
Yeah.
It was closed 2 days in a row. I think it came up
yesterday.
The day after.
The day after.
Finally,
sorry.
I think maybe Friday it came up. But
the day after
I know
we
it was down
left.
Wednesday, Thursday, right?
Yep.
So those right there were 2 outdoor rides that we're like, well, we don't have to prioritize those.
Right.
We knew over here Minecart Madness was one we wanted to do, but we're like, all right, here is Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. We'll go hit in there first.
Right.
So as you walk into a lot of these, there are single rider lines. So, and we'll talk about those a couple times. So we went through single rider line, show closed, but they also said at that point that there was a delay in the ride, but we saw people continuing to go in. So we went ahead and we went in. Mm-hmm. And we got in the queue. And we'll talk about the queue later because we didn't get to ride it this time. The delay kept going. So we decided finally, let's exit
And it was
out.
inside.
Yes.
So we were like, listen, we can wait for an hour or so later for this, especially if it's going to rain.
Yeah,
so
let's not waste that time now.
Right. Let's go somewhere else. But they actually had the Minecart Madness, which is outside, which is the Donkey Kong one.
Yeah.
So we left the queue to go over to that to get it done.
Yeah. So, and at this point, you walk out of Mario Kart, out of Bowser's mouth in the big castle, which is just amazing. You go downstairs, actually. Now you're on kind of the first level, because remember you came up on a second level with those escalators. And you walk through another warp tunnel, basically into Donkey Kong Land. Themed just as incredibly.
Yeah, but it to me, that wasn't a warp tunnel like the rest of them.
No, it's because it's not a portal.
Right.
It's just it's still a separation because it's called Super Nintendo. It's called Super Nintendo World, but you have Super Mario Land and you have Donkey Kong Land within Super Nintendo World.
Right.
But theming here is just, I mean, again, like if you've ever played Donkey Kong.
Oh my God.
I mean,
so
almost
cool.
to the point you just look around like, I got to make sure no barrels are coming at me.
Yeah.
Like that's how much you feel that you are immersed in this area.
100%.
So we went up to Minecart Madness. A couple of these I have the way Epic Universe and Universal Orlando are going to describe them. It's up to you to help Donkey Kong protect the golden banana on Minecart Madness. Enter the majestic golden temple, board your minecart, and take off in this thrilling family coaster. Speeding through the mine, you'll appear to jump across gaps in the track and perform other eye-popping feats from the Donkey Kong Country video games. So we entered at 11:30. It was posted at 105 minutes. We ended up waiting 60 total. And during that was about a 15-minute delay because they said they were putting more carts on the track.
Which then I wonder if that was true. And that's why it took just 15 minutes, or if they were trying to, if something did go down, I don't know. But
the queue. What did you think of the queue coming into here?
Super cool.
Yeah,
I mean, really just incredible. Like it's so cool because like how big it is, and then like, excuse me, there was this one part though, like where it almost reminded me of Hagrid's because. Like it's almost like cavey like and it kind of like you're like, oh gosh, do I need you being tall, do I need a duck? But then you come out of that and into this giant area again where it's just super cool. And Universal does a lot of switchbacks, but it really didn't feel that like crazy.
It moves quick.
Like, it did.
Yeah. And there's that whole area where there's Cranky Kong.
Yeah, I
with
just
the
started to
parrot.
say that
So
was
that's a
freaking
great
cool.
interactive animatronic
Yeah.
element. And we're very used to Now, you got this a little bit with Mario Kart when we go back and talk about that. We're very used to Universal kind of pulling the bait and switch where you're in a big room, a ton of switchbacks, you're almost at the end and you're like, awesome, we're almost on the ride. No, it's another room.
Yeah.
And then it's another room. This one, like, we were looking ahead and we had only been in there for 45, 50 minutes with a 15-minute delay while they put more carts on the track, as they were saying. And Tina and I were looking ahead and we're like, I bet we turn this corner and we're another 30 minutes in a room.
Yeah.
But we turned the corner and boom.
Yeah.
There the ride was.
Yep.
And this was another one. We walked up to it. Single rider line was closed. And I said to you guys at first, I said, if there's single rider lines open, we might want to take advantage of them today.
Yes.
I know we don't really want to, but we might want to.
Yes.
While we're halfway through the wait, we noticed people coming in the single rider line, so they had opened it after we got in.
Right.
But one thing I didn't realize about this, it's really cool because it is a continuously loading roller coaster.
Like Hagrid's.
Yeah, like Hagrid's. So that part's
got that moving
awesome. Yeah.
Walkway,
Yep.
and you've got your cart that you got to get into.
Constant load.
Yeah.
How are the carts?
I feel like you should talk more than me.
Well, I could stretch my legs out.
Yeah, because I couldn't. I could stretch mine completely out and almost not touch the front of it. Like
Yeah.
I could straight out and touching it. Like
Yeah.
it was.
I had more room than I did sitting on any airplane.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And one thing, we'll get into locker usage later, but I do feel like they're much more lenient with what needs lockers. I feel like if Minecart Madness was at Islands of Adventure and built when Islands opened and all of that, it would have lockers, but it did not because it
Correct.
didn't really need them.
Correct.
All right, let's talk about the ride. There is a lot going on in this ride. You are in this minecart. You are jumping tracks. There's animatronics. You're going indoors. You're going outdoors. Like, what were your overall thoughts on the ride? Because we all three felt the same in the end.
Yeah. Excuse me. So it was a little sad because I was excited for this ride. It's brand new and it's very rough and jerky and somewhat fun, but the age that I feel like I am, it's not something I'll want to ride every time. I will ride it absolutely 100% again when we go with the kids and everything. And I would probably ride it once every time I went.
Right.
But it's not something that I'm going to be like, oh my God, let's go ride that.
Right. No, I agree with that.
And yeah, so it was really cool though. Like,
yeah, this is gonna be one, and we're gonna talk about it again. I think with Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge. Like, in theory, this is absolutely brilliant.
Right.
And there are areas where you are in the park looking up at it, and it looks like minecarts are jumping tracks. I mean, it looks really cool. When you're on the ride, first of all, any notion that you're jumping tracks is completely ruined by the initial turn because you see the entire system.
yeah.
You see the entire, and if you don't know how this works, it's basically it's almost like two roller coasters in a sense. There is a lower track that has the whole mechanism and it's riding that track. There's then an arm that comes up and holds the cart above it with a faux track underneath that cart. So it looks like you're on the track when you're on the track, and then they're able to break that track. You know what I mean? Because it's still running underneath. But the problem is when you come
running underneath.
but when you come around that first corner, you can see the entire system. And as you approach the track, now again, nobody thought this was really jumping tracks. But the point of an immersive theme park attraction like this is to make you feel like you are.
Right.
To at least suspend belief for a little bit. And this just doesn't do it. I mean, and that's a minor complaint. It's still, even without that portion, I still think there's faults to it. Now, there's are amazing set pieces in here. There's some amazing animatronics. There's some really cool moments.
Yeah.
But I think overall it just doesn't work for what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it puts the madness in it where I think this would be better served as either just a good coaster or more of a slower style ride where you can appreciate the animatronics and the set pieces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the problem is, like you're talking with the jerkiness, there are parts where it looks like you might hit Donkey Kong in another cart and you immediately turn right. And that definitely causes a lot of like jerking sensation. It feels very short. It's another one of those where you kind of get a payoff, but you think a bigger payoff is coming, but it just doesn't.
Yeah.
But theming, everything else is done well.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah, I agree. It's one I would ride every time,
Right.
but I'm not going to walk in the land and go, guys, Minecart Madness first.
Right.
Or I'm not going to close down the park riding it 4 or 5 times in a row because you can.
Right.
So from here, we headed over to Mario Kart, back to Bowser's Challenge. Shortly after we had left it the first time, it did shut down completely.
Yes.
And they emptied the queue. So we saw that it was back up, and we saw it was posted at 120 minutes. And we were like, all right, this is indoors. We can do it later. But at the same time, we're like, we're here.
Yeah.
You know, the time it takes us to walk across the Isle of Berk or
Yeah.
exit and go to Dark Universe or anywhere else, let's just do it. We already saw that Minecart Madness was, 45 minutes less than posted. So we got in line at 12:45. This is, people know a little bit more about this, I think, because there's one out in Nintendo World in Japan at Universal, as well as Hollywood in their Nintendo World. Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge, you'll put on special goggles and steer through iconic courses alongside Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach. In this interactive ride, you'll collect digital coins and throw shells to try to defeat Team Bowser and win the Golden Cup. With multiple outcomes, it's a different experience each time you ride. So posted 120, got in at 12:45. We entered their, I'll call it pre-show, but it's more like, here's how you operate the game. At 2:05, and we were on the ride at 2:11, so an hour and 26 minutes. So another 30 minutes under. Talk about the queue, entering Bowser's Castle.
Oh, I mean, this is just incredible. This queue is fantastic. It's just so cool because it's Bowser's Castle and it's everything in it, and like how we were in his library where he studied up on all the challenge of Mario Kart and how to do it, and then
there's all these books and with these different labels on the spine of different.
Oh my God.
It's like I was
So
kept
cool.
reading all of those and
then you go around and there's this where he sits by the fire in his big giant chair and pictures of the princess everywhere, and I really enjoyed it, looking through all of it, and then you come around to another room, which then we were like, oh Lord, how many more rooms we got? But it was the last room, and it was showing how like the bullets are made and the bombs are made. It was just super cool.
The queue is an attraction in itself.
It really is.
And again,
I'm not gonna lie.
if you played Super Mario Brothers growing up, or still do, you're in it.
Yep.
You were in the game.
Yep.
They've done this real cool stuff with the screens so that there are parts in the shelves that look like the ghosts, the floating ghosts are coming in. And it just, I'll say this now, and I'll probably say it many times again throughout this episode. Every land in every world, the scale and detail is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Oh, it is. It is.
I know that in some instances here, they are using some forced perspective. You would never know it.
Oh, God, no.
In any of the lands that you're in, any of the worlds that you're in.
Yeah.
Disney, like somebody explains it to you and you start to look and you go, okay. This you really got to look. Like I couldn't believe the scale. And same thing here.
Yeah.
I mean, the height of the ceilings, the size of everything down to these books. And I was just blown away.
I was too.
So we get these funky little hats, right? You get little Mario hats you get to put on. And I knew this game used augmented reality and that you had some sort of headset. I was thinking it was more like an Oculus thing you would put on.
Well, it almost kind of was.
It is in a little, like, explain that, because once you get...
So you get the hat, and then you get into the ride vehicle. And the ride vehicle, when you pull it down onto your lap, has the steering wheel and then the goggles that are attached to it. And when you put them up to your face, they just magnetic onto the hat that's there,
which gave point to the hat,
right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, all this makes sense.
And y'all look like little Marios. Little Mario hats.
Yep.
Four people to a go-kart, and these look like go-karts pretty much. Again, a lot of leg room in space. For somebody that's 6'3", over 200 pounds, very, very comfortable on this and Minecart Madness with the space that was given. Let's talk about the ride.
So,
where do you want to start?
Well,
the good, the bad, the ugly.
Start with me, and I put a patch on because I never knew what was going to happen this day. So this is Jeremy was when we first were in it, the queue. He was like, "Oh, I hope your patch is working," because a lot of it was going to be screen and ride stuff, but screen too. And I was a little nervous, but I was completely fine. It was, I feel like my word is interesting because I didn't hate it as much as you did. So we'll let you talk about it.
Well, here's my thing with it. They took some of the most impressive set pieces and rooms and the way that they interact with screens that I've ever seen on any ride in my entire life, and then ruined them with awful gameplay and horrible augmented reality. I think this ride would be better with no hat, no gameplay. You're just riding through these incredible rooms and areas and set. I mean, because there were times that I actually kind of almost took my glasses off so I could see the difference between screen and physical. They interacted so well. But beyond that, it's just this chaotic mess of not knowing what's happening. It's much like Web Slingers where you are specifically pointing your face is where you're then pressing a button to shoot turtle shells or whatever.
Right.
Which is takes you a while to get used to, because if you are looking at something, if you're looking forward and to the right in your peripheral a little bit is something you need to shoot. As soon as you turn your head to shoot it, it's now technically further right. So it takes a long time to figure that out. At no part did I feel like we were racing other vehicles because of the way that they sit in the augmented reality and the fact that if I turn my head right, if there's a Mario Kart in front of me, he's now to the right of me. You know what I mean? As opposed to being like a wrap-around type Oculus device. When you're on virtual reality or an Oculus, okay, let's just take, I'm looking straight, and that's point B. To my left is point A, and to my right is point C, right?
Okay.
I'm looking at point B. If I turn my head, I see point A where it stands. Do you know what I mean? In this, if I turn my head, point B moves with my head.
Okay.
So it doesn't give that actual feel of immersiveness. If anything, I think it breaks it. And it's just chaotic and it's hectic, and I thought it just sucked all the fun out of it. Halfway through, I almost just took my glasses off because I just wanted to ride through and see the set pieces. And I think that's what I would do next time. So for me, it's one of those absolutely genius in theory. I just don't think it works in execution. I personally wouldn't wait more than 15, 20 minutes to actually ride this. And that's what it would take to walk through the queue. I liked the queue better than the overall actual ride, is my thought.
I saw, so out of my peripheral, I actually saw a cart next to us, like we were, I guess, racing.
But a physical cart.
I believe
we were
so.
going, because there are two going through the space. Yes. But I'm sorry, but they're also supposed. They also have Peach and Luigi and all them in front of you.
That through the goggles is, yes, like Jeremy said, a very kind of chaotic mess. But so is let's be honest. So is Mario Kart.
It is
when you're playing it. It is. If anybody's ever played it.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest. What we went through was true to the game. Every time I've played Mario Kart, I'm still like, oh my God, what, like, whoever I am, I usually try to pick a princess or whoever, a girl, and I'm like, I'm way back here, I fall off, I'm like, oh my God, and I get dropped back down and everything. So Mario Kart has always been chaotic to me anyways. I enjoyed it, but yes, there is a lot going on. Again, like Jeremy said, with sensory issues and stuff. This does turn and kind of spin.
Yeah.
Not,
it's pretty smooth though.
It is not awful. But again, it is. It's chaotic, but it's a fun to me because of Mario Kart and being like playing it.
Yeah.
But I do agree where I didn't get off loving it, but I didn't get off hating it.
I mean, here's my thing. If I play Mario Kart, when it's over, I would like to play Mario Kart again. When I ride this and it's over, I don't really have a desire to ride it again.
Yeah.
And much like we said with the Disneyland episodes, this is our first time experiencing any of these.
Right.
And we only got to experience most all of them once.
Right.
So with all of the hectic that is going on in a game like this, you know, our opinions are coming from, again, that ride.
Correct.
From our experience with that one. So that's why I am excited to go back and to hear the development of our episodes as we talk about Epic as it moves on a little bit. So from there, we decided that we wanted to try and head over to Isle of Berk because anything there was outdoors.
Yes.
And we said, all right, any of the rides here are outdoors. We should probably head over that way. So
and we wanted to eat. Yep. Oh, let's go back to Mario Land. Because...
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. We did get the little toad calzone. Mm-hmm. So right now, a majority of the quick service during the preview time do not have menus posted.
Okay.
And they're not on the website yet.
Okay.
You can find them in some other websites and stuff. But they're not posted on Universal's website, and they are not posted actually outside of the thing. Most everything is mobile order, which obviously you can see it in there.
Right.
But food services as a whole was a mess, I thought.
Okay.
So, like, for this one, you walked up, and, like, there was kind of a line, but there wasn't. There were 2 open registers, but it was just very hectic. There's no posted menu. All they have sitting out is they have this little wrapper thing, like clear wrapper with something that looks like a mushroom in it, toadstool. And then they have 2 toadstool green and red sippers. Mm-hmm. There's no prices. There's no what is this. So first you have to say, okay, what is this thing?
Right.
He says, well, it's basically a calzone. It's got sausage and pepperoni in it. And then, of course, you could do the refillable toads.
Right.
So I went ahead and got that. I said, let me get one of those. Let's try it. I think it was like $11.99 maybe. It was kind of expensive. But it is dough. It is filled with pizza sauce, cheese, sausage, pepperoni. The top of the dough is basically dyed red. Mm-hmm. And then you have the bottom is the regular dough color, so it looks like a little red mushroom. Mm-hmm. What'd you think of this? I
really liked it.
I enjoyed it tremendously.
Yeah, I would get this again and again. Jeremy said it best when I kind of, because it looks a little funny because of the red.
It does.
And
it's definitely a little bit thicker dough on the outside.
Yeah. He took the first few bites, and when he did, he said, it tastes just like the pizza skulls.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, then give me that.
It's exactly what it is. It's
so
like
good.
the pizza skulls.
So good.
And so I would get these again and again. I really loved it. This is one where you need a beverage.
Yes.
Because it is like a little dry when you first get into that outside doughy part, but I would definitely get this again. So, so that was kind of a quick snack. We thought we were going to head over to Dark Universe and eat at like Burning Blade or something like that. But that's when Tina was like, you know what? Like, I don't have to eat right now. If you guys don't, we can get a snack, but let's go to Isle of Berk just in case the weather turns.
Right.
We know that Dark Universe Curse of the Werewolf is closed, so we don't have to worry about that outdoor ride. And Monsters Unchained is indoor.
Correct.
And from watching the previews and hearing about them, Monsters Unchained has not been a hard ride to accomplish.
Correct.
So we thought, all right, we'll go over to Isle of Berk. You come up, you go through that portal, and you come out into the Isle of Berk. What were your first thoughts here?
Well, first of all, we watched How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
Technically, all 3 of them before and during us being here.
Yes, correct.
At Epic. And it was just amazing to me. Like, I was like, holy crap, this is freaking cool. Like, I mean, I just felt like I was in the movie again, and I love that. I do absolutely love that. Universal, like, that is one thing that it has done so well, in my opinion, every place. Like, when you go into Harry Potter world, like, I'm like, holy crap, I'm on movie sets, you know?
Yeah, you're like, I'm in Diagon Alley.
Like,
I'm in Hogsmeade. Yeah.
Like, Galaxy's Edge, you know? I feel, and this is where I'm like, I walk through, and of course, the live action is not out yet, but I cannot wait to see the live action and then go back through.
What would this land look like then?
Because then literally I will feel like, I'm sure I will feel like, oh, look, I'm on the set of the live action. How to Train Your
100%.
Dragon. It's just it's in freaking incredible,
Yeah.
and it's beautiful, and it's quieter after
Super
leaving
Nintendo
Super
World.
Nintendo World.
And Super Nintendo World feels, and I don't want to use the word small because it does not feel small. It feels condensed. Like Super Nintendo World feels like they packed 100 of some unit of measurement into 50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just feels there's so much in such a smaller space. When you get into Isle of Berk,
Well, it's open and
it's
there's
open, but
water
it looks like it doesn't end as a world in a theme park.
Right.
When you first look out, you just figure this could go on for ever. Like this could be an actual land that is just open. And I thought that part was just amazing. And the tower, and I mean, there's so many visible signs that you connect with the movie. I do love Galaxy's Edge. I do think it's immersive. I do think that you feel like you're in a Star Wars, but you don't know which one.
Oh yeah.
This tells you where you are.
Yeah.
And you connect with it.
Yep.
Even down to being like little dragon baby animatronics
Oh my
in
God, so
areas.
freaking cool.
And every little detail
So
again
cool.
is just unbelievable. So we're like, all right, we're over here. Tina wanted to get some water or something, so we're looking for like refillable freestyle machines, and I wanted to buy a refillable mug for the day. So we head over to Mead Hall, and again, there's no printed menus, nothing outside. So I bring up to look for mobile order. I can get a refillable mug, an Epic Universe one, so I get that, and I go ahead and just order some Nordic fries, they call them. So here, like they do in a lot of Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, you'll go in, you'll do your mobile order, you grab a table, you scan the QR code, it tells them what table you're at, and they bring it to you.
Yep.
So Tina got a single refillable because she wanted a Diet Coke, and she wasn't going to reactivate her mug. What we ended up finding out is there were a couple locations that were just open.
Yeah.
So anybody here could have gotten soda. It was just free here. So we didn't necessarily have to buy that, but our fries didn't come at first, and then we hunted down a team member and said, hey,
She was
we
very
got our
kind.
2 sodas, but we didn't get these fries. She went and helped.
And in the app, it did say the order was complete.
Yes.
So we're like, oh, we didn't get our fries. So as she's going to get them, somebody brings fries, which is super funny because when they brought them, like, they just didn't look like they were in
Didn't
full.
look like a full order. Yeah.
Right. Like he almost like, oh, well,
He was
nobody
walking by
ate
somebody else's
these,
table.
right?
And was like, there's
Here,
quite a
these-
few left. I think these guys need
Yeah.
some. Here you go.
But then she brought it, and I was her name Janie.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, I said her name because she was so nice.
She was
and
awesome.
amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I said her name, and she brought us. So then we had 2. So it was just great.
Yeah. And the first one didn't really have seasoning. And I really did seem like it was left over. The second one she brought us had this, whatever they're calling Nordic seasoning on it. And it was great.
Yeah.
They were really good. But here was the first issue where I think it was just like, all right, mobile order. But then it was marking the order complete before it was fulfilled. It was, and then there weren't a ton of team members walking around, I felt like, assisting. So it was just very confusing.
I wouldn't
But, like,
say
okay,
assisting, but they were walking around because she was somebody I could grab, and they were cleaning tables, and
But like ours wasn't clean.
well, yeah, because she did say,
Yeah, so then we said,
"Is
this
this
isn't
your-"
ours.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I
and
wanted
she
to
was
tell her,
like-
be like, it's not like we ate something and have an empty bowl, and now we're telling you we didn't get it. I was like, this was here when we got here. But
and then she apologized.
yeah, she did. No, all the service was great. And we'll talk about some other times where the food that takes some work, right? So from here, we were going to head to Hiccup's Wing Gliders.
Yes.
But we figured we're going to have to wait in line a little bit. Maybe we should pick up something sweet.
Yes.
So we stopped in How to Treat Your Dragon, which is an awesome name.
Yes.
Okay, so what's here, I guess? Just say, like, what's here? Because you walk in and there's an open case like you would expect in a bakery or place with treats. There's a glass case.
I mean, just like any Universal
Yep.
Orlando, like, treats. Like, you
Fudges,
have them
cake pops,
displayed.
what
And
do they have? Rice Krispies, sugar cookies.
yeah.
So
a pear, a chocolate.
chocolate-covered pear.
No, caramel color.
Caramel-covered pear.
Yeah.
I would like to try that. Because
it looks like a drumstick.
Yes,
That's why.
it does. So we ended up getting that, a red velvet cake pop, but it's this big cake pop
Yes,
on top of it.
very
And then
large.
we got a cheesecake fudge.
Yes.
So
Oreo cheesecake.
Oreo cheesecake fudge. So there's somebody there that is saying, here's what we have, here's what things are, and you tell them what you want.
Yeah.
And she has a menu sheet that is coded that she can use a dry erase and mark what you're getting.
Yep.
She then gives that to you, and you take step 1 foot to the left where there's a register.
Or you can go over to the other register.
Right,
if
you could.
The line was long.
But
we were fine where
so
we
you
were.
go there, and they do the register, and they are taking annual pass holder discounts
Yep.
right now, which is great. So Tina purchased this. And then you're still looking at the treats in the case, but those are not for you because you pay for it, and then they give you a number and say, wait to have your number called out.
Yeah.
Then you kind of wander around the store until they call your number. It just seemed like that was an easier process.
Well, it
Wouldn't
was
it
in
go,
the
first lady, say, here's a glass case, and I want that. You
Well,
take it out of there, and you put it in a bag. You tell me how much money it is, and I give that to you.
Well, there wasn't a whole
Transaction
bunch
over,
in
right?
there, and I think
just
they just
refilled.
had them in the back.
I guess so.
And that's all they were doing is walking to the back and filling them.
Do you
I
agree,
mean,
though, that did not seem like the best of processes?
Listen, man, this is a preview.
I know. I'm just saying. This
Give
is
them a
I agree,
break.
and this is the stuff they're working on. But again, we are sharing our experience.
Yeah.
That was 3. That took 3 points. It should be a 1-point transaction. So I just found it interesting. But we got our treats. We went to get in line for Hiccup Swing gliders.
While we were getting our treats, we were trying to get the 3
that's right.
o'clock
Here's now the 3 o'clock already.
for Ministry, Battle of Ministry.
Yeah, Battle of the Ministry.
And so the virtual queue line lit up. We went into it, all 3 of us. And I got to the point where I could pick like 1, 2, 3, how many people for the virtual, but no time ever showed up.
Yeah. But it's still
All of us
alerted
did.
that a virtual queue was available. And I knew this from doing some research ahead of time. Alicia Stella from Theme Park Stop had posted about this, and I was reading through that and the way that it works. So we knew it was an awful virtual queue system. Mm-hmm. Back when they had it like for Hagrid's, never had an issue. Mm-hmm. And we know we never had issues with Disney's virtual queue.
Mm-hmm.
This
So this
one
was
is
sad.
awful.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to get, and it's frustrating. This, I think, is the biggest concern right now is what does opening day look like for Battle of the Ministry? Mm. If it's still in this virtual queue, you're going to have a lot of very, very upset people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even some lady, spoiler alert, we'll just go ahead and skip to the 6 o'clock
The 6
one.
o'clock, which we did not
We
get
did
as
not
well.
get. And we were actually, and we'll, talk about the land, but when we were in there, like Tina was like, other people already got it and ours hasn't even lit up yet
Right.
for the virtual queue.
Yep.
And then I was like, is it because of our names? Like, because like our last name is Stein, but Tina should have gotten it because
Yeah.
her last name's Benson. Like, I'm just trying to like, why? Because some people got it, and then when it came up, we never did, and it did. It was sad. It was like
it is frustrating.
disappointing.
Yeah.
It was all the above, all the feels.
And I understand, as we get ready for some other things to talk about, like we're not going to get to ride Battle for the Ministry today, okay? Most people aren't.
Right.
1 ride down. Curse of the Werewolf was going to be down all day. 2 rides down. Stardust Racers was going to be down all day. 3 rides down.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it's technical rehearsals. It's preview. All of that
Oh.
is in the disclosures. I understand things aren't going to work.
100%.
But you also have to understand that people are still going to be frustrated because it's not as though these were preview prices, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Now we went on a Thursday. Ours were $145 each. After taxes, we paid over $300. That's like going to a regular theme park.
Yep.
So again, you just go in with the understanding that things might not all be working. It doesn't make it any less frustrating.
No, because even the lady that was next to us and we were trying to get it, she just started talking to us, but said something about it being frustrating and then going to guest services. And I'm like, I want to be like, okay, what
Yeah.
are they going to do?
But here's
You
the
know?
thing again, and we're talking our experience. You come to me and say, how is Walt Disney World's virtual queue system? And I'm going to say, it's the greatest thing ever.
Right.
I love it, and I wish we still had it for rides.
Right.
And I hope we get it for Test Track 3.0. You go to plenty of other people and you say, how's the Walt Disney World virtual queue system? And they're going to go, I hate it. It's awful. I never got one. Right?
Yeah.
So which is it? Is the Walt Disney World virtual queue system good or bad?
Right.
It all depends on your experience.
Yep.
The people that we heard cheering at 3 o'clock, or I'm sorry, that was the 6 o'clock one when
Right.
we were in
Yep.
Wizarding World. If you go to them after that day and say, how's your virtual queue experience? They're going to go, it was awesome. We got it and we rode.
Yeah.
They're going to ask us and we're going to say it's awful. So again, you just have to put those things into perspective.
Yeah.
But it seems that the consensus is this one stinks. This virtual queue is bad.
Yeah.
So we got in line for Hiccup's Wing Gliders. We had the treats. Talk about the 2 treats. Red Velvet, Cake Pop. I know you're not as big Red Velvet fan.
It was fine.
Tina and I loved it.
I know.
As Red Velvet goes, and we both love Red Velvet.
Yep.
It was awesome.
I
How
love
about
the
the
fudge.
cheesecake, though?
love
The
the
fudge.
fudge.
I'm sorry, yeah.
So good. Very sweet and
Yes.
very glad you had a drink and you want water usually with that, but it was really, really good.
And they're doing same thing here that I think they always do over at the other 2 parks is buy 2, get 1 free with the fudge. And remember, these fudges are like, I think they're a half pound each.
They're a
least.
lot.
They're huge, but
Yeah.
both of them were delicious. As we were in line here, we got in line at 3:03. It was posted at 80 minutes.
Yes.
We did start to get a couple rain drops.
We did, and I was like, it was so funny because I saw 80, and then I saw that weather was supposed to start around 4:30. So I was like, all right, we're in line at 3:03. At 4:30, even it starts, we should be on the ride and do everything, hopefully, with the way things have been going before the rain. Now, this is an outside coaster.
Yes.
So I was like, please, please. And then while we're in line, we saw lockers. Let me go ahead and say when we got up to the line to go to the lockers, it was really cool because the team members were looking and was like, all right, what do you have? This, that, and this. And she was like, well, all right, that needs to go into, because you have refillable cups, that needs to go into the lockers. I had a Lululemon sling bag. That did not. I went ahead and just kept it on me. But I love too that it seems like they have taken the lockers and done what they should have done from the very beginning. And I hope that they start to take them out of Universal Islands of Adventure and Studios and redo them with these.
The double-sided.
Which is not only double-sided, but they are the ones where you can stand your cup up in.
Yeah.
So you don't have
or a lounge
to
fly.
throw
You
it
can
away.
fit a lounge fly without smushing it.
Correct.
And the other thing they did great here is you had team members that were basically corralling for people to go to lockers. It wasn't a free-for-all.
Right.
You know, like a lot of the ones over at the other parks.
Yep.
And having the double-sided already takes out half of the people that are going up to the lockers
Right.
at any given time.
Yep.
But it was nice to walk up. How many people do you have? 3? Okay, yeah, you can go to lockers now.
Yeah.
So it wasn't everybody just hoarding on
Right.
them. So Hiccup's Wing Gliders says, from Hiccup's workshop comes his latest contraption, a winged flying machine that launches aspiring dragon riders into the air, swooping and soaring and encountering Hiccup and Toothless along the way. It was 3:03. We got in line. I said posted at 80 minutes. We got on the ride at 3:50. Now, do remember, this is our 3rd ride of the day. We arrived at 11. It's now 3:50. So that part kind of stinks. We're feeling a little discouraged, I think, until we ride this. So I didn't know much about this coaster.
I didn't either.
And you can't see
Nope.
enough of it.
Correct.
Right? Which I love. So I'm like, I think just from what I can see and kind of hear, I think this might be more of a Slinky Dog to Big Thunder intensity, somewhere around there, right?
Do
I
we
was incorrect.
do we spoiler alert and say, like, because the sign, it has to.
It gives that part away.
Yeah, it has to say, like, if you get nauseous, it has to say all the things, right? Well, there's a sign, and Tina read it, and spoiler alert, skip ahead if you'd like, but literally it said backward motion.
Yeah.
So we were like, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay, is this like Hagrid's? Is
Right.
this like, what is this like?
Everest.
Yeah, we had no idea. I was like, okay, I'm again, I rub my patch every time because I'm like, all right, it's going to work. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. This ride was outstanding.
It was so fun.
Had so much fun. I loved it so much. We wanted to ride again, but just later with everything, we did not get a chance. But
Like,
it was amazing.
You know, go back to Minecart Madness. Go, well, I wouldn't close the night riding this back to back to back. I would close the night riding this back to back to back.
100%.
It was so
100%.
fun. It was so unexpected. It's got some great set pieces in there. Toothless. Holy moly.
Yes.
How cool
and
is that?
Hiccup.
Yeah, and Hiccup in there, which I missed. I wanted to ride again because Toothless was on one side, Hiccup was on the other, and I was just staring at Toothless like, holy moly. So I didn't even realize. Cool. It is an absolute blast.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely more on the Hagrid's.
Yeah.
Not quite as intense, but more along that line.
So cool.
Comfortable ride vehicle, coaster, like just
very
everything
fun,
about
very
this.
smooth.
Yeah.
So good.
For everything that I was disappointed in that morning as far as those two rides, I stepped off this and was like, this made up for all of it.
100%.
Like, it was only our third ride and it's 4:00. Okay, because this was cool.
Yep.
And I thought it was the best. All right, so from here, we're like, all right, we're going to cut across. We were going to go do the winged, I'm sorry, I think it's the Dragon Flyers. Because they have Dragon Flyers and they have that boat ride.
Right.
And so Tina and I wanted to go do the Dragon Flyers. It does not look like it does many people at a time. It's kind of like a swing around ride. I'm trying to think of what you would compare it to.
I mean, it almost, because I was staring at it because, again, I was like, am I going to be able to ride this? While I was watching, I was like, all right, it looks maybe a little Dumbo-ish like.
Yeah,
so
but you're seating with
seated
with
by
legs
yourself.
dangling. No, I thought it was a small row with your legs dangling, and then as it goes up and around, you're at a low point, high point. Anyway, it was posted at 70 minutes, and we were like, this one we can try and come back to.
And at this point, you could see dark
weather coming.
Yeah. So we were like, all right, well, let's go over to Dark Universe.
Yep. So we headed over to Dark Universe. Let's talk about entering this portal. You want me to start?
Yeah,
this I will put as like a top 5 theme park moment ever.
Yeah, that was
you
really
walk
cool.
through this portal and it's got it's that purplish lightning and stuff that's coming through, because each of the portals also are wrapped on the inside basically in screens.
Yeah.
So they can do a lot with them, and the lighting and the
cool.
sound. And as you come out of the portal and around the corner, the fog hits at the perfect timing, the buildings and the music like crescendoed at the most perfect time. It was like chills coming really around here, and immediately you're like in Halloween Horror Nights. You know what I mean? Like that setting, like almost like you're getting ready to walk through a scare zone at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah. And you're like, is something going to jump out at me?
There's like burnt wood and there's smoke everywhere and fog, and like the music is all ominous. It's just so cool. So we headed over to Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. So in Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment, Dr. Victoria Frankenstein continues the work of her ancestors deep below the family estate. A demonstration of her experiments to control monsters goes awry when Dracula leads a revolt of enraged monsters, including the Wolfman, the Mummy, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and more. So it's 4:15 that we showed up here, and we had seen the wait time pretty much 55 minutes all day long.
Yes.
And I saw it only go down once for a short period of time. So been very, very reliable, and it was posted at 55 minutes when we got there. Now, we were getting on the ride at 4:40. So 25 minutes later.
Pre-show and everything.
That was or that might have been the pre-show. Well, I guess talk about going into Frankenstein Manor, the queue, like
moly. I mean, first of all the Harry Potter people are going to kill me. And I love Harry Potter. It is way better than going into the castle.
Yeah, I agree.
At Harry Potter.
Yep. I agree.
Like this castle, going into this castle and going through this castle.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, holy moly, it is incredible. And I love it. All the way up to the pre-show with Victoria.
Yeah.
And the stairs and just the queue. Like I don't want to give.
There's one point you have to go upstairs.
Right. I don't want to give too much
that are in
away,
like the main lobby, hallway, foyer, I
guess
you could say, of this.
Stunning, a little scary.
Yeah. You feel like you're there.
Yeah, it is.
You feel like you stepped into a Halloween Horror Nights house.
Yeah,
at this point, basically.
Yeah.
Now, things aren't as dark You don't have a bunch of things jumping out at you or anything. And
Correct.
it's not as, I guess, violent and gory as we know Halloween Horror Nights can be.
Right.
But they've basically taken Halloween Horror Nights and made it into a ride. I
Yes.
mean, when you think about it.
Yep.
And yeah, from the foyer area with the grand staircase that you get, like having 2 levels in a queue, the way that this does immerses you so much more that you're actually in this home.
It's so cool.
It's nuts. And the portraits on the wall and the parts where the electricity is coming through to power Frankenstein's monster. And then you get into the pre-show and it's Victoria Frankenstein animatronic. Now this one has a projection face, but not in like the Frozen Ever After horribly done projection faces.
Because this works so well because it's dark.
Yeah.
And it's the way it's supposed to be. Like, I think the projection would probably in Frozen Ever After work really well if it was just darker. Like the way it cuts off
the
around,
actual
it
projection.
It's just great. It just works really
This works
really
very,
well.
very well.
Very well.
And it is this long scene and Victoria Frankenstein's telling you what she's going to do. And then Dracula kind of shows up on one of the screens, but she introduces Frankenstein's monster from behind a curtain.
And it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I mean, so we remember.
I thought it was. I mean, it is.
We remember the first
like a
time
real
seeing.
person.
Remember the first time seeing Jack Skellington during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween.
Yes,
and that is a giant puppet,
right?
But the way that it moves is so natural; it really confuses your eye. This thing is you're 10 feet from this animatronic, and you don't almost believe that it's just an animatronic.
I agree.
It is done so incredibly well.
I agree.
The motion, everything is so fluid. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
And full size. I don't know how tall this thing is, but it's probably 7.5, 7 feet tall or something. It's huge.
Yes.
So from here, you're going to head into the loading area. And it is set up, basically, it is set up as though Forbidden Journey met Cali River Rapids load station. Because it is a big circular load with a continuous moving belt and continuous load. But the ride system is basically the same as the arm system in Forbidden Journey.
Yes.
Obviously has some improvements in the one thing where you meet Igor, because there's another pre-show where you meet Igor up on screen, and it shows you the ride arm with the vehicle on it, and that thing is like swinging all around the like. That makes you think this is going to be a lot more intense than it is. I think just by looking at those
I was
movements.
a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, but it was, and I don't really like Forbidden Journey.
Right.
But even with a patch on, but this one was not as intense.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic, and there was just, oh my God, so much to look at that we actually rode it twice.
Yeah.
And that was so awesome.
This is just a modern Marvel and theme park attractions.
Yeah.
This is setting a brand new standard. Now again, we haven't seen Battle of the Ministry,
right?
Which I think is even supposed to be more impressive. But seeing this, I still think Rise of a Resistance is just incredible.
Right.
It is an amazing feat. This goes right up against it. Easily. And the use I love, even though it is very similar to Forbidden Journey. They're doing screens in a much better way. It's not putting you into that dome screen where you then fly around or do something for a little bit. And again, it's this collection of physical set pieces, screens, and animatronics that just work to absolute perfection.
I agree.
It's fast paced. It's scary.
It is
they did
scary.
not hold back.
No, like it's scary. I mean, the first time ever riding it, I did feel, Tina and I both felt very like Halloween Horror Nights, where things were kind of popping out, where I was screaming a lot because it scared me, but then for the second time what to expect, and then I didn't scream as much as the second time, but just so you're aware too, kids riding this, it could, I don't know,
there's not a gore level, but everything else is there.
Yeah.
And also the continuation of the way that they use these animatronics with the screen. Like there's one where there's a giant wolf man coming at you,
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, as your vehicle is swinging around, you watch him across screenage and stuff chase you basically alongside and then pop back out at the end. And then there is one scene towards the end where it's hard to determine between animatronic and screen.
Yes.
And then when
So
you
cool.
realize that what you're looking at, part of it is an animatronic and that part is not a screen, your mind will just be blown. It's the most impressive thing I've ever seen. And from what I could tell on the 2 rides we got, we were full A mode. Everything was running.
Yes.
The only downside I saw was, and I don't know if they'll make adjustments, but I just found it funny. Did you see all the folding chairs in the one you could clearly see backstage area and a doorway and
no.
like a balcony that came out and there's folding chairs stacked all up again. It was just weird because the rest of the ride is so perfectly timed.
Right.
This one time it actually turns your ride vehicle and shows you space that isn't part of the ride, which was interesting. So, but again, that's probably all adjustments, whatever.
Yeah.
So we did that. We ended up going back. We stopped at the Burning Blade, which we'll talk about here in a sec. But we got on the ride at 4:40. We were off the ride by about 4:50. We were back in the queue by 5:20 after a quick stop at Burning Blade and waited 18 minutes that time. And the ride as the night went down, wait time, we saw as low as 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah. It's probably a walk-on at that point.
And it moves so quick, but it's constant load like Forbidden Journey. So that part is great that they've got this high capacity, hopefully stays working ride. Because it is a people eater and it's one that has so much rewritability because there's so much going on. So let's talk about Burning Blade Tavern. We wanted to grab something to eat. How would you think of going up there? Like we had to walk around. It was weird because with Curse of the Werewolf closed, it felt like there wasn't anything behind. You know what I mean? Like Burning Blade is actually kind of behind Curse of the Werewolf. So it was hard to find it first, but we ended up finding it. How would you, I guess, explain just the decor? I mean, I'll read what they say. It's an old mill which Darkmoor Village's monster hunters have transformed into their hangout. Here, guests will discover stories of some of the countryside's most accomplished creature capturers, along with a menu of burgers, wings, bratwurst, pretzels, and beverages.
This reminded me a lot of the bar in Wizarding World right by the castle.
Yeah, is it Hogshead Tavern?
Yeah.
I think so. It does. It has that feel.
Yep. It's super cool. They have a mocktail that we got, but they do not have any zero proof beers, which he said that maybe they'll be getting them because, Universal already, he called it, what he called it, the West or something. I don't know.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said it funny to me because I was like, huh? But I just listened to him and he apologized and I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine. But yeah, so there you can only get alcohol drinks. I believe you could have gotten the mocktail, but around the corner you had to go and mobile order and then pick everything up outside, which was a little weird.
Yeah, this was another one that it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get the food in the indoor bar portion.
Correct.
Which is connected to the window that looks outside, basically,
Correct.
that you can get food from.
Correct.
Now, you can mobile order or walk up to the register, but it's such a small window that both things are kind of happening at once. So there was a lot of backlog. It was another one where I think for this one, like Tina's order said completed because she had ordered a burger. And then she was like, you know what? I want to get a Coke. And there was no freestyle machine for free there to use. So she ordered a single Coke. And then that was a separate order. But then that one got filled. And so everything just seemed to be a mess. And while you're trying to go up, because there's one line saying, I have a mobile order, I'm here and it says it's ready. There's people in line also still ordering food from the register.
I was all inside at this
all
point.
These same people would have to come out here to get food to take it back inside and eat inside the way that we did.
Right.
So.
And the outside only had large capacity of seats for people.
Yes, and there were not a lot out there.
No.
I mean, they could have fit a lot more. So again, this is all learning. We're just giving you our experience.
Correct.
This is another one where they got to figure out this food services.
So it was nice to sit inside anyways. So we were inside at a 3-person table.
Yeah. So the mocktail that they have is the Monacane mocktail for $12. This is Monin pineapple syrup, Monin blue raspberry syrup, Monin passion fruit syrup, emerald luster dust, and Sprite mocktail. It comes in a little beaker with like a cork top, straw.
You can keep it.
You can keep it.
Or throw it away like we did.
Because it didn't have anything branded on it. It's not like it said Burning Blade Tavern or anything. How did you like this?
It was good. It was sweet.
It's super sweet. I mean, you hear all the syrups.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. What did we get for, I guess, kind of like a little appetizer?
They had what's called a Hunter's garlic steak for $8.99. This is a crispy garlic butter pretzel and a garlic dipping sauce. This thing was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
It was like a flattened out pretzel, fried, but still soft. And it was really, really good.
Yeah. It was like you said, it was flattened, but the bottom had a more of a like hard pretzel-y crust to it. And then the top portion of it was your standard kind of soft pretzel. And then just, lathered in butter and garlic and then more butter garlic dip. I thought this was just absolutely outstanding. I would get this time and time again. Then we got the Burning Blade burger. We got one. Tina got an order as well. So this is $12.99. It's a 4-ounce black Angus patty with American cheese, caramelized onions, jalapeno bacon on a potato bun that is black.
Yes, it is.
I guess talk about this little burger, because I say little because it is
little.
It's not a slider, nor is it a full-size burger. It's this little 4-ounce patty in between thing.
Yeah. But it was really good.
It was. I thought it was great.
It was also perfect for me and you cooked wise.
Yes, I was surprised at
But
the
other
doneness, because this
people
was
might not like it.
medium rare, medium-ish little patty.
And under the lights, I'm not gonna lie, it looked pinker, where I was like, oh God, this is raw. But I did pull my light out, and the lights in the tavern were making it look funnier.
Yeah.
It still was very, very pink.
It was. I think.
But we were all fine.
We
Everybody's
were fine
healthy.
with it, because that's how I would order like a good burger. Now,
Yeah.
for a quick service burger, I think it was very shocking that this is the doneness that they were at this time.
Yeah.
Now, again, when Tina and I were getting the order, because you were inside getting a table, because it's not a big area there in the Burning Blade, but I think they rushed it out because we had waited so long. So I would assume it's not normally cooked to a medium rare. That would be shocking.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great. I think a lot of folks, when you read 4-ounce burger, I don't think you put in your head that this is going to be a small mini burger. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like, it just didn't. I expected a full size burger to come out, but obviously when you go back and read it, 4 ounces is not that.
Right.
But I think you easily glaze over that when you're looking to order it. I thought it was going to be a full size burger, which is the reason we were going to split it.
Right.
But the Hunter's garlic steak was great to split as well. So we had plenty of food, and I knew we wanted to get pizza later, which of course we'll talk about in just a bit. This is when more rain started, and this is where some people have been saying this along. I think is going to be a major issue with Epic Universe. When it rains, almost every ride goes down,
and it's very sad. Okay, you should add, not rain, when the Florida thunderstorms come through.
Because we never had major rain.
We never had major rain. Like, I mean, kind of. Like, it rained enough where it wet, like, everything, and it was dripping off. But, I mean, it didn't rain for hours on end. The problem was the lightning and thunder. When we were in line for Hiccup's Wing Gliders, it was starting to sprinkle, and then they didn't do nothing. They never shut it down.
Yeah.
And then when we rode it, it didn't rain and we didn't get sprinkled on, which I actually was expected to be hit in the face with some wetness. There was never. It was when it became a thunderstorm.
Yes, which
And
is
lightning,
understandable.
yes.
Yeah, there's nothing against Universal or Epic closing
Correct.
because there's lightning in the area. Everybody's going to do that for outdoor rides. The problem is this is mostly outdoor rides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you take Battle of the Ministry out of it, which is an indoor ride, but
Right.
getting on, probably not. Which means that all that is left to do at this point is Monsters Unchained, which we had done twice, Mario Kart,
Which we really didn't have a
which
desire
we
to
did
go
the
again.
one time and we didn't want to do again.
Yep.
And then really is the Constellation Carousel that is undercover.
Yes.
Other than that, every ride was on a weather.
And when you
delay
went to
or
the
weather
lap,
closing.
when you went to the app, that's what it said. And it was just like, oh man. And now mind you, this was also, what time was this? 6 o'clock?
Yes.
6, 7,
This
8,
was
9.
5:45, and this is going to be open
So
until 9 p.m.
You have about 3 more hours, but I believe they do the same rule as the pool, and you shut down for 30 minutes every time there's lightning. So if
Yeah.
it lightnings again, that 30 minutes starts over.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and say,
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
Well, again, well, think of this time. Let's get back to the rides real quick because
Okay.
if you go over to Isle of Berk, you have 3 rides. All 3 have to be shut down for lightning.
Correct.
You go to Wizarding World, there's 1 ride, Battle of Ministry. But again, getting on it, at this point, you can't just say, I want to go standby even.
Right.
Now, we'll see what happens when it actually opens. Then let's go over to Dark Universe. Well, Werewolf, if it was running that day, would have
That
closed down to rain.
Right.
You could do Monsters Unchained. Get to Super Nintendo World. 2 out of 3 rides would shut down with Minecart Madness.
Right.
And even Yoshi's Adventure because it
Yes,
has
it
outdoor
did.
portions.
Correct.
So all you have is Mario Kart. And then we
Correct.
get back into Constellation Carousel. And of course, Stardust Racers was not up that day, but had it been, it also would have been shut down.
Correct.
So I do think this is a major issue. So we thought, well, we'll go kind of just walk around. It's not raining bad. We can try and get something else to eat. We can go. We hadn't been to Wizarding World at all yet. So I saw that they were doing the Cirque Arcanus show that they do, which is a show in there. They had one at 6:05.
Yep.
So we actually arrived over there, I think, maybe about 5:45.
Because we tried to get the 6 p.m. drop.
Yes, we were trying to get the 6 p.m. Well, first we walked in for the 6:05 show, and it was already at capacity.
Yes.
And that ended up being the last show of the night.
Correct.
So we waited 6 o'clock. We tried to get the Battle for the Ministry drop. We could not get it. So at that point, it was like, all right, there's not much to do. We didn't really feel the need to ride Monsters Unchained again. We certainly could have.
Right. And at this point, like, even though I just didn't, I mean, I don't want to say I just didn't want to. We rode it twice and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was it was going to start to get dark, especially with the storm
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, and
So
the
we
plan
wanted
was, the plan was go to Isle of Berk. And we wanted to do wing gliders again because
we
we
did.
loved it and we would have done it as many times as we could have.
Yes.
But we also wanted to do the other 2 rides there.
Right.
Well, now we weren't going to have a chance because as far as we could tell, and we'll talk about eating and the Constellation Carousel, but right, wouldn't you say as far as we can tell, and we left a little after 8 and nothing had reopened from
Correct.
the weather. At that point, my guess is, I could be wrong, previews, they're going to close at 9. Even if there was an opportunity to reopen them, I doubt they did for the last 45 minutes.
Correct.
Somebody, if you were there Thursday, May 8th, let us know if that changed.
Right.
But again, you're cutting your night short at that point. Now, there are a lot of places to go eat. There are a lot of places to go drink and kind of hang out.
yeah.
You know, for us, no longer drinking. We weren't just going to go back and sit in Burning Blade and have some drinks or something. We weren't going to go, to some of the other areas. So we decided to go do Constellation Carousel
Yeah.
right there in Celestial Park. So we got in line at 6:17. It was posted at 25 minutes, and we got on the ride at 6:31. So
Okay.
a very quick ride.
Yep.
What do you think about this? Because I think, at least I know Tina was like, a carousel. Okay, I guess there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Sounds lame. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's a carousel. Carousels are the same,
Right.
right? And you're probably thinking the same thing.
I did.
Au contraire.
Yes.
What's up with this carousel?
So I guess the best way to describe it is a dancing carousel.
Oh, that's a good way. Yeah, that's
That-
a good way to describe it.
Everything, like when you go into Mickey and Minnie's and all of the one, and Daisy's like 1, 2, 3, 1.
Yep.
This is what it was like, where they start a soundtrack, because I do believe they're different.
Yeah.
They start a soundtrack, and literally, was really cool, because they just started dancing, and they were all in unison, and it was just,
let me try and paint a picture. So imagine your normal.
I was not doing a good job.
Imagine your normal big circular carousel platform that spins in circles, right?
Okay. I forgot that part.
Within this giant circle is 2 smaller circles, almost like smaller carousels, that are also spinning.
Yeah.
Now, there are, we'll just call them horses. They're everything from bears to tigers and rams to some seated ones like you see in carousels, right?
Like, not everything, though. There were rabbits and bears and
they're
rams.
all, and tigers and lions and oh my.
I don't think so. There was a peacock, I think, so you could sit.
Yeah.
Each of these carousels can hold 2 people.
Which is great, but comfortable for one, but you could fit 2.
Yes.
But so there's your big circle, right? And there are some carousel, again, I'm just going to say horses to make it easy. There are carousel horses in there. Mm-hmm. Then there's your smaller 2 circles that are also spinning with carousel horses in there. Mm-hmm. So they're getting double spin to start. Mm-hmm. In addition, all of the horses slowly turn and rotate as well. And they're all going up and down. And what's really cool is they're not connected top to bottom.
Right.
Where you look up and see the mechanism normally that is pulling you up and down.
Correct.
These are all bottom only. Nothing connects to the top. So it's almost as though you're a little bit suspended. I'll be honest, it's the most fun I've ever had on a carousel in my life. And I would honestly ride this every time that we go to Epic Universe.
I agree.
And it would be one of those where maybe there is some rain, you're not sure what to do, or you're just walking by and you already rode it this morning and you look and go, yeah, there's that's pretty much a walk on. That there's one more ride in front of us and we can go, and I would get on it. I thought it was so fun.
I did too.
I just smiled. It was, to me, it gave that same joy as an alien swirling saucers.
Yeah.
Which is not a groundbreaking ride by any means, but you just have so much fun.
Yeah.
And the music's blasting and I was just,
and at
it's
night,
gorgeous.
that would be that.
Oh my gosh!
We were not at night yet.
Yeah. We were at overcast night.
Right. And I mean, we were like, oh, I bet it'd be beautiful to ride it later.
Yeah. So we did that, and at that point, it is kind of like, well, what are we going to do? Tina had to drive home that night. She was not staying. She was going to work Friday. So we knew she was kind of ready to go, but would easily stay till 9 if we said, hey, let's stay till 9 and do these things.
Right.
But I really wanted to get Pizza Moon since I'm known for pizza. So I had to get that. So we thought, well, let's get some Pizza Moon. We'll just continue to monitor the weather. We can sit, relax. If something comes back up, if Hiccups comes back up, if the, some of the other rides over in Isle come back up, we'll go over there. So we sat and got pizza from Pizza Moon. So this is in Celestial Park. This is a quick service that you can mobile order from. They did have menus out front that were on screens, right? So at least you could see those, or you could mobile order. So there was one pizza I wanted to get specifically because it's kind of I guess, going to be their known for pizza. But then I wanted to try a regular one, so we ordered 2 pizzas.
Yes, we did.
So the first one we got was the Nana Rosa for $17.99. That's tomato sauce, fresh mozzarella, stracciatella, heirloom tomatoes, and fresh basil. And then we got the Pizza Lunar, which is kind of their signature pizza for $18.99. Roasted garlic bechamel, fromage de lune, ricotta, pancetta, garlic confit on an ube pizza crust. Let's start, I guess, with the setting. We sat outside. We did get to see indoors, though, right?
Yeah, and that was really, really cool. I think I would have wanted to sit inside, but it was just because the rain came through, it was nice and cool. And then if it did kind of start to rain again, we were still completely under cover where we wouldn't have gotten wet. So with that being said, we just did sit outside. Yeah.
And it was nice. I mean, it was cool
nice.
at that point.
Yep.
And they describe it as a 1900s Victorian theater that's been converted into an eatery with the finest pizza in Universal. And the indoor, I'm trying to think.
Looks like a circus, I think, inside.
Yes, it is, but it's 1920s. If you know Smashing Pumpkins album, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, Do you remember the artwork for that? With
agree.
the kind of that star and that 19,
Yep.
that's what it looks like. If you don't know what that album cover looks like, go look it up right now on Google. Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yep.
And it's super cool.
Yep.
So let's start with the Nana Rosa. This is pretty much a margarita kind of style pizza. It's a pretty standard pizza. They're wood-fired crust. You got mozzarella, tomato sauce, some heirloom tomatoes, fresh basil. What did you think of it?
I thought it was very, very good. It was on the large side, and I'm going to go ahead and preface it where this was another not mistake, but
just service, food service. Let's see how this goes.
Well, it came out that this one came out first, and we ate a couple pieces, and then Jeremy was like, "There's another one coming," and I was like, "Am I gonna like it?" Because I thought, and he was like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Oh, well,
I didn't tell y'all what it was."
Right. So I'm like, well, okay, I guess we'll stop. And it took a while where Jeremy finally got up to go inside, just kind of like the fries with the last one. And as Jeremy was in there, a guy brought it out to us.
But this was another one, I believe, in my app, it said completed.
Did it?
And that's why I was like, I went up and just said, hey, we got one. We haven't gotten the other, but it says completed. Like, we're sitting outside. And she looked like it might have been a manager. She said, I'll be back to check on it. Still like 5 minutes went past. And then you texted me and said it got brought to our table. So I don't know if she went and said something and they brought it out, but I kept waiting for her to walk out with it for me to carry back. So went back to get the second one. Now, what about the flavors of the first one?
They were great. I really, really liked them. It was just a large pizza.
Yeah.
It
says feeds 2 when you order it.
It feeds 4.
Easy.
Very easy.
I expected like a 12-inch pizza to come out.
Well, and then because the next one did come, and we'll talk about how good it was in a minute, because I went back to ask if I could get a box.
Yeah.
And the way he explained it made sense, but it was hard because, again, this is 7 o'clock at night if we were on the ride, and then we ate after. So we got off the ride. We were on the ride at 6:31. So you're more like between 7 and 7:30 at this point. And I'm like, it closes at 9. I'm like, and so he proceeds to explain.
I will easily eat leftover pizza 100%. That evening in the room.
He begins to explain that this whole, like, you can't have a box and take it because of, I'm assuming, because if this is earlier in the day and it sits out, it gets hot, then it's compromised, and then people might get, I don't know. He explained this whole big thing and finally said, like, no, we have no boxes, nothing to carry this away in.
Nothing to take it away in. And we have a full pizza left, between the two.
Technically, yes. Yeah. And they are working on smaller pizzas.
Yes.
And I said, okay. So
we had to throw it out.
We did.
Which stunk.
Which then we started picking. Okay, let's talk about this Pizza Lunar.
Yeah. Well, let me talk about the Nana Rosa first, because it's outstanding. It is a picture perfect margarita style wood-fired pizza. The crust is, where it's got that little bit of wood char, but it's toothsome. The sauce tasted super fresh. The cheese was outstanding. That little bit of ricotta on top, like the fresh tomato. This one not have ricotta? Oh no, this is the one. That's right. I'm sorry, but it had the like buffalo mozzarella that it did. It wasn't like shredded. It was the single slices on this one. But I absolutely loved this pizza. It's an outstanding theme park pizza. I'm not going to put it with, well, heck, if you want to get inside the theme park, I'm not counting Disney Springs and a carry out with Pizza Ponte, which would be considered quick service. This is easily the best quick service theme park pizza that I've ever had. Because Via Napoli is go sit down.
Yeah, I'm
you know what I
think,
mean?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it was outstanding.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Pizza Lunar with this ube pizza crust and ricotta, thick chunks of fried pancetta, basil, all that good stuff.
Garlic combi.
Yeah.
This was fantastic.
How did it look?
Well, it was purple.
Yeah.
I liked this crust a little better than the other one.
You sure did.
I absolutely love this pizza, and I look forward to getting this pizza again.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was, and now that we know right now that they are working on making smaller ones, so if they keep this size,
this is the best deal in theme park history.
Well,
for a
and if they
pizza.
keep this size, I would go back and just get one,
100%.
And then because then once we knew we couldn't take it, we went ahead and then actually like just started picking like pieces and picking things off, which again, it was so good.
Yeah.
So
if the pizzas happen to stay this size and they get the boxes for you to take them home.
But I don't think they will. The way he explained it.
But that makes no sense.
Why?
Every single place gives you a box to go for you to carry your food around a theme park. All of a sudden, this specific pizza place is worried that it's going to cause a food safety issue.
I'm telling you what he told me.
It doesn't make any sense to me. It makes more sense to say we're not sure about the size of the pizzas. Therefore, we don't want to order a bunch of boxes for 16-inch pizzas if they're going to end up being 12. But either way.
It was fantastic.
This is one where I can see it is closer to the end of the night. Maybe you're done with rides. You get one and you just take it to go and take it back. I would do that every single trip here.
And since we were sitting there and picking, we were still watching. There was the weather delay. Then we were like, all right, it's not going to open back up. We figured.
Yeah.
So then we were like, well, it's getting a little dusk. Because now, again, you're talking 7:15, 7:30-ish. I was like, well, let's walk around and look. And Tina was like down to go. And then we were like, well, we wanted the dessert too.
Yeah, we have to get some form of ice cream.
Right. And so over in Super Mario Land and Donkey Kong Land, there is a bubbly barrel. So we started walking over there, and pretty much by the time we were getting over there and getting this, then it did start to actually rain, where we had little throwaway ponchos.
Yep.
That was in our bag. All three of us did. And we actually put them on. And then we'll talk about the bubbly barrel in a second. But basically, then the rest of the night, we just went to try to look at the portals kind of like at dark. But then we were kind of like, well, why don't we just... Because it was raining.
Yeah. Well, it never got nighttime.
That's
the thing. Sun's not setting until close to 8:30 right now. And it's only open till 9.
Right. So we were like, let's go shopping, and then when we go to leave, we'll kind of do that.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. But we went to over there and went to the Bubbly Barrel and got the DK Crush Float with Mug for $18.99. So this is a tropical banana flavor, banana pineapple soft serve float with pineapple soda, waffle bowl, toffee pieces, and caramel popcorn. Now, when we read it, Tina saw it and goes, ew, that just does not sound good. We got it. We sat under a tiki-like table right by the water and the minecart one. And I wish it was going, but it wasn't, because again, there was thunder and lightning. But this was so good. She tasted it, and then she literally thought about getting. She was like, "Okay, if I get one, will you eat it?"
Yeah.
And so
I was like, "Well, obviously I will, but you don't need to get another one."
This is very, very good. The only thing I wish they could do, and I wonder if they could, is not make it a float, because
I'm sure you could. So it's okay. So it's a cup that, and the bottom is filled with that was the soda, the pineapple soda. Hanging right above it, sitting in the top of the cup, is the waffle bowl with everything else in that.
Yeah.
But at some point, basically, it's almost make your own float. Like, you could pull that waffle bowl out. Now, you wouldn't have anything to set it in. You'd have to get like another bowl or cup. But once you break through the waffle bowl and stuff starts to fall into the pineapple soda, you get the float. But you don't have to technically break that waffle bowl to eat everything on top.
Maybe that's what I
it was perfect. It reminded me a little bit of the Banana Foster at Swirls on the Water. I think the only thing that could have improved it was maybe some pieces of real banana, but it didn't need it.
Yeah, it was really
I love
good.
the caramel corn in it, and like this was outstanding.
Yeah.
And you can get it without the mug. It's
Yes.
a keepsake Donkey Kong mug that Tina actually wanted. For a couple bucks less. It might be like $13.99 maybe or something if you get it without the mug. So I would obviously do that next time, but I'm sure you could say something along the lines of, do you have a bowl that I can, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I thought it was still good when stuff fell into the soda and you had kind of the float.
Yeah.
I'd get it again for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, really, that was kind of,
That was it.
our
And
day.
we started walking around, and I wanted, because I was getting cold, and I was like, you know what? I loved the Toothless, like seeing him, and I loved Isle of Berk. And I was like, I want a long sleeve. So we went to go shopping, and they didn't have what I wanted, like my brain process. I felt like Toothless they have a lot of stuff for children. I'm like, I'm not a child, but I want something.
Yeah, there's a lot of
one.
a lot of merch, and there's a lot of merch for each land. I personally didn't love much of any of it.
Yeah, ditto.
A lot of it did
sad.
seem geared more for younger audiences, especially in Super Nintendo World and Isle of Berk.
Yeah.
There's some pretty cool monsters stuff in Dark Universe.
Yeah, that's true.
But for me personally,
yeah.
it's not stuff I would wear year round.
Yeah.
I could see getting something when we go. Well, if we don't go back till December, we'll be past Halloween. But like, I could see something that I might buy to wear during Halloween time. Now, Kaylin will probably wear some of that stuff.
Yeah. And we'll see.
year-round.
I mean, if all of a sudden, we maybe get another ticket before December.
And we could.
You
So
know.
let's wrap it up. All right, we're gonna wrap up this episode and talking about Epic Universe. Based on our experience just that day, let's just talk about our specific experience. Was the preview worth it for you? Was it worth the $300, $100 for a hotel, some food and all? Did you feel that it was worth the cost and the value for us to do the preview on this specific day?
Yes,
Okay, I'll say yes.
I do. I was sad that a lot was closed, but
In the rain.
But it just, I don't know. I think it was. I think it was for, because that's one thing we've always tried to do and say and just be like, we're out there for y'all, so you don't have to. And I think it was for us. And Rachel, I think when she went,
She had a great time.
she had a great time, but I think everything worked for her.
Most everything did. We'll have to go back
But still,
and
like,
ask her.
I think I would almost say for other people coming, maybe try to wait till after opening day, quote unquote, whenever that is, because I know that's still in technical, and then they have the opening. And if they are selling it, I think I would. I think I would almost want to go back before December with the kids one more time. I know we didn't really tell the reaction of going through the portal for the Wizarding World.
That's right. Yeah.
So apparently this is after Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, this is Fantastic Beasts. So it's 1920s Paris.
Which I don't remember
the streets.
seeing that.
I don't think
It
we saw any of the
was super
Fantastic
impressive.
Beasts.
It was really cool because it's almost kind of like going around when you go through the bricks of when you're, what's it called? Diagon out? No.
When you're going on to King's Crossing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's where, because it says Metro, and that's where you're kind of like going around, and it's just not, when you walk through the portable, it's not, to me, as a major reveal as then when you do come around out of the Metro and then come around to see the Paris, and you're like, wow, it is really cool.
Yeah.
But it's hard because I didn't see the Fantastic Beast, I believe, and if I did, like, I didn't love it like Harry, so it to me was oh my God, I feel like I'm in the movie again.
I don't think it connected to us on the movie level, but it definitely was like, wow.
It was amazing.
Like we haven't been to Paris in the 1920s. We haven't been in the 2020s, but you feel like that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it was cool.
I really thought all that was impressive.
Yeah.
Going through there. Yeah, it was obviously worth the cost because we had a great time. And I had not heard anyone who hasn't had a great time. I went in with low expectations on what would be available for rides because we know they've been breaking down. It's hard to gauge because Universal obviously knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Like, have you ever opened a theme park?
No.
I never have.
No.
So we have no idea how to open a theme park. In my mind, I feel as though possibly opening it up to everyone the way they did, which gave us a great opportunity to go, doesn't seem like the smartest decision.
Yeah.
One, I think it devalued pass holders and some of the ones that could buy it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if
I'll
you know,
agree with
especially
that.
as they started to overlap, because it's not like they said, "Here's the 3 weeks of pass holders only." Mm-hmm. Now we're going to open the next 3 weeks to anyone.
Right.
You know, they just overlap. So pass holders bought preview tickets not knowing that anyone was going to be able to go by the time they were going to their date.
Right.
Technical rehearsals, I get it. Things going to go down.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we have seen Disney put a ride online with an official opening like Tiana's and just suffer.
Yeah. Right.
This whole park is suffering, though. I am very interested. I wish them the absolute best for May 22nd. Everything that I have seen over the past couple weeks, we'll see how the next couple weeks go, that we experience, the park's not ready to open on May 22nd.
Yeah.
Without, I think, some major, major hiccups. And at that point, you can't just throw a technical rehearsal sign in front of people's faces and say things are going to break.
Right.
We understand you paid money. And it's not like these were discounted. These are still $145 each, and those were the cheapest ones.
Right.
So you're still paying almost the price of a full ticket. I don't know. It's hard. I'm so glad we went.
Yeah, me too. And again, like I said, I think I wouldn't mind going again. But this to me, I mean, how many rides were down? I mean, not a ton. There's not a lot of rides there.
There's just not a lot to
where
do.
It can, to me, be like a half-day park, really.
Yeah, I would.
If you get everything, like if maybe you get Express.
Yes.
Or or you spend the whole day, but it's because you're waiting an hour or two lines, which then it takes up your whole day, but you get to do the whole day.
Yeah, you get to do everything. Yeah. And I think you can. I think you can accomplish this in a day. With Express Pass, 100%, you're going to be able to accomplish even more than that. I have nothing truly bad to say about Epic Universe.
Yeah.
But on our experience that day, I somehow still came out feeling underwhelmed. Now, that's not doing Stardust Racers, obviously, which is a huge main attraction people are loving. That's not doing Battle for Ministry, which obviously could have changed everything. That's having some rain issues where we didn't get to complete the rides in Isle of Berk. But even with all that said, I don't know. I don't think it's the like Disney killer that people are thinking. And here's one way I could put it.
That's
As
true.
a huge Disney fan, and I do love Universal, and I love being in the Universal parks. I really do. I don't need to go to them all the time. We've talked about that. As a huge Disney fan, I'm not jealous or worried. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think this is such an awesome addition to Orlando. I think it's an incredible addition to Universal.
Yep.
I think us as theme park fans are so lucky.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's definitely a place I want to go back to. But if we don't go back till December with the families, I think I feel okay with that. Like, I'm not like, oh, when are we going back?
Yeah.
You know, even though I really want to do Stardust Racers, and I'm ready to see how it operates, how it settles in, and what it
100%.
might look like if you and I decided to go and give it another shot in maybe September, just say.
I agree 1,000%. And
Right.
the main reason why is because that rain, I'm scared for them.
I
say rain.
especially they're opening right at the start of
I need to
summer.
quit saying rain.
Yes, you do.
I need to say thunder,
lightning, thunder,
storms,
yeah.
our Florida storm. I need to say our Florida storm.
Yes.
When this Florida storm comes through, and a lot of times Florida storms can come through and they can come and they can be gone very quickly, but sometimes they can't. And if they can't open back up and they, are closed, that's what I'm scared for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sad for.
Yeah. You could have most every day.
From 3 to 9.
75% of the rides shut down for 2 to 3 hour periods.
Yeah.
Easy. And
Easy.
And I know they have expansion pads. They're going to expand on this park in the future. Like, this park will grow bigger.
Oh,
they will
yeah.
build other lands. They will expand on
Yeah.
lands. It's missing other than the Constellation Carousel, it's missing easy rides.
Oh, yeah.
And every ride is not Monsters Unchained or Battle for Ministry, but every ride is a major ride. It really is.
Yeah.
Which is amazing that you can go to a park like this and have so many top tier attractions. The problem is you have so many top tier attractions. You don't have the people eaters. You don't have the rides like the Living with the Lands or the Grand Fiesta Tours at Disney that you can just do every time you go with low weights. We can go over to Universal with things like Cat in the Hat.
One fish, two fish.
Yeah.
I mean,
you need those, and it doesn't have those.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting as it plays out. And will there be enough to do indoors when it does rain? Monsters Unchained, Mario Kart, Battle for the Ministry, depending on if it goes away from virtual queue to start or not.
The carousel.
Yeah, you have the carousel. Now you do have the indoor show at oh my gosh, Wizarding World, the circus. However, if everything is closed, where do you think people are going to go?
Right.
You also have the show inside of Isle of Berk that we didn't get a chance to see because, again, they're doing minimal runs and all of that. But all of those you could see go to capacity quickly when there's nothing else to do.
True.
I see this very much as a locals hangout park, depending on what annual passes will end up looking like for Epic.
Yeah.
I see this a little bit like, because there's a lot of places to eat that are cool. There's a lot of places to drink that are cool. There's a lot of just wandering around.
Yeah.
So I think it is going to have a lot of allure for locals or for pass holders once it becomes included, because it will be a park that you can just hang out in without having to do the rides.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Magic Kingdom, half of those rides shut down when it rains. But the difference is you have another whole half of rides.
Oh, yeah.
And some high tier great rides. So I do worry as well how it's going to look, but I am so excited to go in December with the two families.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to get Express Pass. We're staying at Helios Grand. We're going to have a theme park view. Like, we're going to get the full Epic Universe picture.
Yeah.
And we'll do another episode after that one, and we'll see what we think. So, again, this is our opinion on that preview.
Yep.
But I am excited for it to open and for Central Florida and Orlando to have another theme park. It's been the first time in 27 years to have an entirely named
Congratulations.
theme park. So congratulations, Universal. Every team member interaction. I know some of the food services was wonky. It had nothing to do with the team members. They were all fabulous. Service and everything was great. And yeah, we were very, very thankful and lucky we had an opportunity to go. So we will wrap it up for this one. Next episode, we're going to finish up all of our Q&A questions that we had recently in our Facebook community and on our Facebook page. So make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and you can get those every Tuesday and Friday. Of course, Ron and I would be very, very thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review,
because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon. We're excited to announce Balanced Weather, your go-to source for smart, reliable weather updates tailored for Walt Disney World and all of Central Florida. CEO Alan Gerard, a meteorologist and lifelong Disney fan, has been providing weekly weather reports to the Main Street Magic community for years. And now he'll be bringing you weekly forecasts, plus answers to your questions about weather for your upcoming Disney, Universal, or Florida vacation. Visit balancedweather.com/WDW-weather to learn more and get the latest updates.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.